The air was thick with the sound of footfalls, thousands upon thousands of feet pounding against the ground in unison. Streets that had once been quiet now teemed with people moving together, their breaths labored, their determination unyielding. Across cities, forests, and deserts, humanity ran, driven not by panic, but by purpose. Lena, a seasoned marathon runner, was among them. Her legs burned, her lungs ached, but she pressed forward. Around her, people she had never met kept pace. A man in a business suit. A mother carrying a small child on her back. A teenager with a prosthetic leg who refused to fall behind. They didn't speak, but their shared resolve needed no words. She glanced at the sky, where faint streaks of light marked the Zarnith observation vessels, invisible to the naked eye, but unmistakable to those who knew what to look for. The Zarnith had issued their warning weeks ago, their cold, synthesized voice transmitted across every device on Earth. Surrender or be extinguished. Surrender had been considered, of course. What could humanity do against such advanced technology? Earth's weapons, its armies, its strategies, all seemed laughable compared to what the Zarnith could unleash. But then, an answer had emerged, buried deep in the annals of forgotten history. It was a scientist who had found it, poring through ancient texts and archaeological data. Hidden beneath the Earth's crust were remnants of a precursor civilization, long gone but far more advanced than humanity. Among their relics was a planetary defense grid, dormant for millennia. It was humanity's only chance, but activating it required something that no machine could replicate: kinetic energy on a massive scale. Thus, the Great Run had begun. Lena knew the stakes. Everyone did. The energy grid required an unimaginable amount of power, and there was no time to build machines capable of generating it. Instead, humanity itself had become the power source. Billions of people running, walking, crawling if they had to, their collective effort channeling energy into ancient nodes buried across the globe. In a war zone half a world away, a soldier named Marcus ran through shattered streets, his boots pounding against rubble. He had left his weapon behind. There was no point in carrying it anymore. Ahead of him, civilians joined the effort, their faces grim but determined. He didn't know their names, and he didn't need to. They were all running for the same reason. On another continent, a single mother named Aisha pushed her body to its limits. Her legs trembled with exhaustion, but she wouldn't stop. Her young son ran beside her, his tiny steps quick and eager. "Don't slow down, Mama," he urged, his voice filled with the kind of hope only a child could have. Even in the most remote places, the effort continued. Scientists had calculated that every single person mattered. A single step could make the difference. And so, from crowded cities to desolate plains, from seasoned athletes to those who had never run a day in their lives, humanity moved as one. The Zarnith were watching, confused and dismissive at first. But as the days passed and the energy readings began to spike, their analysts grew silent. The Great Run wasn't just a desperate act. It was a message, one written with sweat and pain and perseverance. Humanity wasn't surrendering. They were fighting in the only way they could, and they were doing it together. The Zarnith had been watching Earth for centuries, though the humans had never known. To the Zarnith, observation was a tool of conquest, and they were masters of it. Perched in their silent observation post orbiting Earth, they monitored everything: wars, technological advances, petty squabbles. The humans were fascinating in their chaos, but to the Zarnith, they were a predictable species driven by emotion and disorder. Their history seemed to be a cycle of self-destruction, interspersed with bursts of ingenuity that occasionally surprised even the Zarnith analysts. Today, however, something new was happening. "Focus the scanners on their movements," the Zarnith commander ordered, his voice calm but edged with curiosity. The analysts complied, honing their sensors to monitor the surface of the planet. What they saw defied logic. Humans were gathering in large numbers, thousands in some places, tens of thousands in others. From sprawling metropolises to remote wilderness, they came together and began running. It wasn't a panicked sprint like prey fleeing a predator. No, this was deliberate, coordinated, relentless. They are exerting significant physical effort, one analyst reported, her voice betraying a hint of confusion. No weapons detected. No vehicles. Only running. The commander leaned forward, his crimson eyes narrowing as he studied the projections. To the Zarnith, running was a primitive and unnecessary act. Their species had evolved past such inefficiencies long ago. What purpose could this serve? It's not random, another analyst said, overlaying a map of the planet. The patterns are consistent. Organized. The commander tilted his head. A military maneuver? Unlikely, came the response. There are no signs of accompanying armament or defensive positioning. This appears to be voluntary. For a species as methodical and detached as the Zarnith, this behavior was incomprehensible. The humans were expending enormous amounts of energy, sweating, straining, and yet they continued. The Zarnith analysts struggled to make sense of it. They hypothesized everything from ritualistic ceremonies to an elaborate distraction tactic. None of it fit. Zoom in, the commander instructed. The projections shifted, focusing on individuals within the crowds. They saw young and old, strong and frail, all united in the act. Some stumbled and fell, only to be helped up by others and urged forward. The determination on their faces was unnerving. One analyst broke the silence. They're running towards something. The commander's gaze flickered to the analyst. Explain. Their paths converge, she said, highlighting points on the map where the runners seemed to be heading. It's as though they're drawn to specific locations, though there's no discernible energy source or landmark to indicate why. Another voice chimed in, hesitantly. Perhaps they've detected us. The commander dismissed the idea with a wave of his clawed hand. If they knew of our presence, they would not react this way. Their fear would manifest in chaos, not unity. Yet, as more data streamed in, unease settled over the observation post. The humans' relentless effort, their unwavering purpose, defied everything the Zarnith thought they knew about this primitive species. They're not afraid, the commander finally said, his voice quieter than before. But what kind of species runs toward something in such numbers? No one answered.